guys, I'm gonna do the review with you. All right, so keep in mind that factoring is the opposite of multiplying. You're like unmultiplying things. So all of this stuff, you can use one to check the other. So this number one, they want the product. They're giving you something that's factored. Okay, so I multiply negative 6 x to the third because when we multiply, we add exponents. This is just like distributive property. Okay. Sorry. Forget that part. Okay. And then negative 6x squared and then plus 3x. So if you want to check this, you can check this on your calculator. You check for equivalence. You can check for equal graphs. And you can always factor to go backwards. Okay, so this is find the product. So it's basically asking us to do negative 2x cubed times itself. That's what squaring means, to multiply by yourself. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And when we multiply, we add the exponents. You can also do this by the power rule, which would be negative 2 squared is 4, and then you multiply those exponents. Okay, find the product. So I'm going to do the x times x and x times 6x. So x squared plus 6x. And now I'm going to do the negative 6 times the x and the negative 6 times the 6. So negative 6x squared minus 36. You might also recognize that when I get my answer here, this is the difference of two perfect squares. So maybe you remember the pattern, okay? Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. That's why the middle term is missing. There is no linear term. The coefficient of x is 0. All right, so factor. So there's a common 5. There's also a common x. So that would be called the greatest common factor. And then you divide. So that would be 3x cubed minus 1. Factor. So that happens to be the difference of two squares. I'll put dots to remind you. I'm going to put GCF here to remind you of that as well. So that's going to be x. And remember, they're conjugate pairs. So it's 15 and 15, but one's a plus and one's a minus. Okay. This one happens to be a perfect square trinomial. You can use factoring by splitting, you can use just basic trinomials, or you can use the pattern of perfect square trinomials. So this is going to be an x minus 8 and an x minus 8, which can also be written as x minus 8 squared. Perfect square trinomials. Okay, so this is just going to be basic. That's like when I've been making the x and I'm putting the 27 here and the negative 12 down here. So I'm getting minus 3 and minus 9. I'm looking at the factors of 27, 1 and 27, or 3 and 9. Okay, so number 8, the coefficient is a 6. So I'm going to do splitting, which means I'm really looking for factors of negative 30. So my choices are 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, which is the ones I'm going to use. I think that's all there is. Oh, 5 and 6. I knew there were more. I'm going to use 3 and 10. So that's 6x squared minus 3x plus 10x minus 5. That's called splitting the linear term. So I took the 7x and I split it. Now I'm looking only at the first two. So that's 3x is the common factor, and it's 2x minus 1. And sometimes I just copy that 2x minus 1 because I know that that's what's going to be repeated. And that tells me to do a plus 5. So my final answer is putting it back together, 3x plus 5 and 2x subtract 1. Okay, remember you can use splitting for any of these questions, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So if you like splitting, you can do splitting a lot. Okay, factor completely, so I'm going to pull out a 3. That gives me x squared minus 6x plus 8. So negative 6. Negative 6. So 8 to negative 4 and negative 2. So 3 times negative 2 and negative 4. There we go. And remember, all of this is checkable. Factor completely, I'm going to pull out a 4. That gives me x squared minus 16. And that is the difference of two squares. So I'm going to do that one again. Okay? Remembering factoring completely is going to imply 2 steps. So make sure you do 2 steps when it says completely. It's a hint. It helps you. Also, all of these are checkable on the calculator. You can use the graphing calculator to look for equal graphs, equal tables, or just use math test for the equal sign and look for number 1. Okay? This is the test on factoring. There's GCF factoring, difference of two squares, perfect square trinomials. When the leading coefficient is 1, I call that basic. When the leading coefficient is greater than 1, I call that splitting. And factoring completely, those are like the last 2 examples. Okay, review stuff is polynomial multiplication, and there is going to be a question on an exponential function. So hold on one second. Okay. So, what am I asking you about exponential functions? Let's see. Okay. So, I'm asking you which scenario represents exponential growth. So, growth is anything that's being multiplied. So, something that fills at a constant rate would not be exponential. That would be linear. That would be like adding. Anything that grows at a constant rate is linear. But anything that doubles or triples or has a percentage is going to be exponential. Okay? Constant rate is linear. Doubling, tripling, quadrupling, that's exponential. Good luck. Happy studying.